Imagine waking up to the rumble of trucks invading your backyard. Not with invaders from another planet, but something far worse, your neighborhood HOA, armed with prefab buildings and a delusional sense of entitlement. That's exactly what hit Thomas Wilkes one scorching Arizona morning, as 15 U-Haul beasts snaked down his dirt road like a parade of uninvited guests crashing a funeral. And the punchline? That sun-baked 5-acre plot they were claiming as their kingdom was his, paid for in cold hard cash, deed in hand, no HOA strings attached. Thomas had always been the quiet type in Sunridge Bluffs, the kind of guy who fixed his own truck and minded his own fence line. But whispers around the cul-de-sacs painted him as the neighborhood recluse, the one who didn't contribute, because his land sat just outside the HOA's invisible empire of manicured lawns and petty fines. He's hoarding that desert like it's his personal sandbox, they'd say at block parties, while sipping Chardonnay and plotting their next community enhancement. Thomas heard it all, but he didn't bite. Not yet. He knew silence was a weapon, sharper than any comeback. It started innocently enough, or so it seemed, with Olivia Nevers knocking on his door a week prior. Olivia, the HOA president, was a walking caricature, pearls around her neck, hair sprayed into submission, and a smile that screamed, "I'm helping you whether you like it or not." She stood there in his gravel driveway, clipboard clutched like a shield, her oversized sunglasses reflecting Thomas's unimpressed stare. "Thomas, darling," she cooed, her voice dripping with that fake Southern charm that only HOA tyrants could pull off. "We've been chatting at the meetings about how our little community is growing. Storage is such a hassle these days, isn't it? Everyone's garages are bursting with holiday decor and dusty exercise bikes." Thomas leaned against his truck, arms crossed. "What's that got to do with me?" She flipped a page on her clipboard with a flourish, as if unveiling a masterpiece. "Well, that empty land of yours behind the east wall. It's perfect. No one's using it. And it's so adjacent to our neighborhood. Think of it as a gift to progress. We'll expand our services, add some units, and voila, revenue for all. That's my land." "Olivia," he said flatly, not raising his voice. "Bought it fair and square. Not part of your HOA circus." She let out a tinkling laugh, the kind that made you want to check if your ears were bleeding. "Oh, come on, Thomas. It's not like you're farming cacti out there. And technically, since it's not zoned for your whatever you do, it's community adjacent. We voted on it last Tuesday." Democracy in action. Thomas didn't argue. He just nodded, watched her totter back to her SUV in her impractical heels, sinking into the dirt with every step. Inside, he was already plotting. Let them think he'd rolled over. The deeper they dug, the funnier their fall would be. A week later, the invasion hit full swing. Thomas sipped his coffee from his porch as the U-Hauls arrived, each towing gleaming prefab storage units that looked like oversized metal coffins. Workers in neon vests swarmed his land like ants on a picnic, fencing off a chunk, pouring concrete for a parking pad, even installing a shiny keypad gate. A sign went up, "Sunridge Storage Community Members Only. Contact HOA for access." All without a single permit, a word to him, or a shred of legal right. He could have stormed out, yelling about trespassing. But no. Thomas unfolded a lawn chair under the scraggly mesquite tree, the only shade on his property, and settled in with a thermos. "This oughta be good," he muttered to himself. watching Olivia strut around like a peacock in pastels, giving tours to wide-eyed neighbors. "See? Progress," she beamed to a couple hauling boxes. "For just $75 a month, you get secure storage right here in our backyard. No more driving to those sketchy off-site places. And the best part? All profits go back to the community. Maybe a new playground slide." Thomas bit back a grin as she handed out keys and collected envelopes stuffed with cash. Neighbors filled the units fast. Old furniture, holiday lights, even one guy's collection of vintage hubcaps. By the end of day one, half were rented. Olivia spotted him watching and sauntered over, her heels clicking absurdly on the fresh concrete. "You're being awfully sporting about this, Thomas," she said, tilting her head with that patronizing smile. "Glad you've embraced the spirit of unity. After all, idle land is wasted land, right?" "Oh, I'm enjoying the show," he replied, tipping his hat. "Best entertainment in town," she chuckled, oblivious to the sarcasm. "Well, if you change your mind, we could cut you in on a unit." "Neighbor discount," Thomas just smiled. Inside, he was tallying every violation. No permits, no easement for the electrical hookup they were splicing into the grid. No nothing. He had the deed in his safe stamped, notarized, untouchable. But why spoil the party early? Let them build their castle on quicksand. As weeks ticked by, the operation boomed. The HOA newsletter crowed about the innovative revenue stream, complete with photos of smiling renters and Olivia cutting a ribbon with oversized scissors. They even hiked dues by $20 a month to fund Phase 2. More units for more unity. Whispers about Thomas shifted from recluse to obstructionist, with anonymous posts on the neighborhood app calling him out. Why won't he share? "It's for the kids." Thomas stayed silent, documenting everything with his trail cams, hidden eyes capturing every truck, every payment, every smug tour. He watched Olivia's nephew show up as the project manager, botching the wiring so half the lights flickered like a bad horror movie. Her brother-in-law's construction company got the fat invoices, even though their work involved more coffee breaks than actual labor. One afternoon, as Thomas refilled his thermos, a neighbor named Hector, a burly retired mechanic with a mustache that could hide secrets, wandered over. "You just gonna sit there, Tom? They're turning your dirt into their piggy bank." Thomas shrugged. "Ever hear the one about giving someone enough rope?" Hector snorted. "Yeah, to hang themselves. But this is nuts. Olivia's acting like she owns the desert." "That's the beauty of it," Thomas said, eyes on the keypad gate where another renter punched in a code. "Let 'em get comfy." By week 3, all 15 units were packed. The HOA board patted themselves on the back at their monthly meeting, toasting with sparkling cider. Olivia's speech, leaked via a disgruntled member's recording, was pure gold. "We've transformed wasted space into a beacon of community spirit, and to think, some naysayers thought it couldn't be done." Thomas finally made his move when the dust settled. Literally. He dialed the county property office from his truck, voice steady. "Yeah, I need to report a major encroachment. Got the deed to prove it's mine." The inspector, Kevin Rohr, arrived the next day in a dusty county truck, clipboard in hand and a scowl that said he'd seen too many shortcuts in his surveyor days. He was a no-nonsense type, with wire-rimmed glasses and a pen that clicked like a metronome of doom. "You Thomas Wilkes?" he barked, eyeing the storage units like they'd personally offended him. "That's me." Rohr scanned the setup, the fence, The concrete, the meter box humming with stolen electricity. They do all this without your say-so? Not a peep, Thomas said, handing over his folder deed. Survey. Tax stubs. Bought it 4 years back. Rural residential. No HOA annexation. Roar whistled low, pulling out a laser rangefinder. He paced the perimeter, muttering about zoning nightmares and permitless wonders. Thomas trailed him, silent, as Roar measured twice, scribbled furiously. They poured concrete, ran power lines. Roar's pen clicked in outrage. And they're renting him out? $75 a pop, Thomas confirmed. Full house now. Roar's eyes narrowed. That's fraudulent operation on private land. Felony territory. You want to pursue? All the way, Thomas said. No hesitation. Roar packed up, tone grim. Planning office tomorrow. This town's going to hell with folks like this. The next morning, Thomas strolled into the county building in jeans and boots, looking every bit the unassuming landowner. Roar met him at the door, ushering him to a conference room where 2 more officials waited. A zoning enforcer with a stack of maps and Andrea Marks, the DA rep, sharp as a tack in her blazer. Marks tapped a folder. HOA filed this as community-owned expansion. Cropped photos to hide your parcel. No mention of you. Thomas leaned back. Figures. Can I press charges? If we prove intent? Hell yes. She slid a form. Civil claim starts here. We'll handle criminal. He signed. By week's end, an orange cease and desist slapped the gate like a scarlet letter. Certified letters flew to Olivia and Philip Grant, the treasurer, a weaselly accountant with a comb-over and a penchant for signing anything that smelled like money. Olivia confronted Thomas 2 days later, marching up his drive like a one-woman army, heels stabbing the dirt, face redder than the sunset. What the hell, Thomas? She hissed, waving the letter. You're suing? Over a little community project. Little? You built a business on my land, he said calmly. Without asking. We were helping. Storage for everyone. Dues for repairs. Her voice cracked with faux indignation. You're destroying unity. No. You're stealing and calling it progress. Thomas smiled faintly. And that power tap? Utility theft. Audit's coming. She stepped back, flustered. This is a mistake. We'll fight it. Oh, please do, he replied. Court'll be fun. That weekend. Yellow tape cordoned the units like a crime scene. Renters fumed, demanding refunds. The HOA scrambled, dipping into funds for payouts, canceling landscaping gigs and a security upgrade that was just fancy stickers on old cameras. Thomas got the county call days later. Misdemeanors for unlawful build, felonies for fraud and illegal ops. Conspiracy to forged permits. It snowballed. The HOA had blown $32,000 in dues on the project. Homeowners revolted, calling an emergency meeting. Thomas wasn't invited, but Hector spilled the beans. Olivia spun tales of ambiguous boundaries and Thomas's lack of signs. But Mara Jensen, a retired realtor with a no BS vibe, stood up with GIS printouts. Read the deed. Folks, Mara said, holding an aerial photo with red boundaries. This ain't HOA land. Why no surveyor before dropping cash? Olivia stammered. The manager, my nephew, said it was fine. And those invoices? Someone shouted. To your brother-in-law's firm? Philip mumbled defenses, But the room erupted. By meeting's end, both were suspended. Olivia resigned for personal reasons days later. Philip ghosted. Thomas left the units rotting, sealed, useless monuments to stupidity. The HOA begged. Lease offers, buyouts, even a joint venture. He declined all, savoring their desperation. County ordered demolition, 30 days or $500 daily fines. They fought, lost. Contractors ripped it out, reseeding with brush. Thomas watched from his porch, beer in hand, as the last unit vanished. Olivia and Philip faced charges: fraud, trespass conspiracy, fund misuse. Mara, new president, brought pie and apologies. We should have questioned sooner. Thanks for exposing them. Thomas nodded. Give thieves rope. They build their own noose. But the wind carried more grit that morning. As Thomas padlocked his new gate, complete with no trespassing signs, a black SUV pulled up. 2 agents, Loring and Shepard, badges from state financial crimes. Following your HOA complaint, Loring gravel-voiced. Inconsistencies suggest laundering. Thomas raised a brow. Money laundering? Shepard nodded. Fake invoices, $12K to a Nevada P.O. box for unfinished electrical. Companies don't exist. Thomas leaned on his trailer. Lights never worked right. They showed ledgers. Redstone Logistics jumped out. The delivery trucks. Shell core tied to Arizona fraud, Loring said. So, storage was a front. Thomas whistled. Our hunch. Got comms with them. Thomas handed a flash drive. Photos, cams, letters. Testify if needed. This ain't just land beef, Loring warned. Bigger. That night, movers hit Olivia's house. Lights off. Her gone. Subpoenas flew. Agents raided meetings, seizing laptops. Hector chuckled. Philip went ghost white. DA deposition. Marks revealed $78,000 funneled to personal accounts via fakes. Board misled? Some testify for immunity. Others lawyer up. Racketeering charges loom. Thomas signed as witness. Back home, interim board froze spending, axing events, auditing everything. Bombshell. Forensic report. $150K siphoned over 2 years on phantom projects. Invisible tennis court. Fake cameras. Town hall exploded. Mara moderated chaos. Shouts for refunds. Drainage lies exposed. Thomas spoke. Happened 'cause no one watched. Silence let M steal. Now, accountability for all who ignored. Hector later. Join the board. Nah, Thomas laughed. Porch views prime. Weeks on. Indictments. Racketeering. Fraud. Negligence. Grant pled. Spilling Olivia's offshore beans. She got nabbed in Utah. Alias buying land. Trial, Thomas's evidence shown. Olivia claimed verbal okay. Judge scoffed. 6 years for her. 4 for Grant. Restitution ordered. New bylaws. Audits. Approvals. Term limits. Thomas replanted. Built a shed. Permit-free freedom. 3 months post-haul. Quiet reigned. But Detective Keller called. Sandstone LLC used your parcel for $250,000 loan. Forged deed. Thomas gripped the phone. Impossible. 6 months pre-project. Misspelled name. Tracing 9 parcels in fake HOA district. Grant. Him and Nevers. Faked for federal grant. $700K frozen. Investigation blew up. Doctored records. Manipulated maps. Shadow District snaring Elders land. Grant/Olivia faked resolutions. Shuffled via shells. All traced to Grant's laptop. Grand jury. Thomas testified timeline. No notices. Prosecutor. No district alert? None. Would have torched it. Indictments expanded. Wire fraud. Federal conspiracy, plus 3 board eyes. Ex-zoning official. Damning. Zoom clip. Olivia. Empty land. No checks. Boundary error if caught. Emails. Phillips' low-hanging fruit on Thomas's parcel. Sentencing. Judge thundered. Stole land. Funds for vulnerables. Smug confidence. Olivia, 9 years. No parole 6. Philip, 8. Restitution. Grant revoked. State audit flagged HOA 5 years. Residents dissolved excess powers. Thomas resurveyed. GPS markers. Anti-Incorp rider. Mara brought settlement papers. $112,000 whistleblower share. Didn't know, Thomas said. Your alert triggered it, she replied. He fenced barbed wire, point made. Built workshop, concrete, solar, safe with docks. Wall photo, cease and desist day reminder. Hector helped solar install. Sunset chat. Cell? Nope. Quiet fell. Place fits, Hector said. Always did, Thomas replied. They missed it. Silence stuck. No trucks. Clipboards. Just wind. Land. Victory in letting arrogance crumble. But was Thomas the hero for waiting? Or should he have stopped them sooner? You decide, was patience justice? Or did silence enable the chaos?